good afternoon. Today we have a very interesting and a very knowledgeable guest with us, Mr. Arjun R. Hardas. Arjun is the India representative of the American Jewish Committee and a great expert on West Asian affairs, particularly the Israel-Palestine conflict. A lot is happening in that part of the world, and I guess we need to know what are the nuances. And today we are lucky to have such a respected and such an enlightened guest with us today. So, well, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you
Arjun.
so much, Abhinav.
So, Arjun, a very quick question to you first. How do you look at the Trump's 20-point ceasefire plan? Is it going to succeed, or things are going to go down south?
First, I'll just make a small correction. It's a 20-point peace plan. So if it continues and it's to the end, then hopefully it'll be, as they said, Singapore one day.
Yes.
How long it takes. It will succeed if the points are adhered to on both sides. If you've seen the plan, the peace plan, it starts from a basic thing about disarmament, ceasefire in the first place, which has happened to some extent. Unfortunately, there have been recurring incidents of firing again. The ceasefire part of it is that initially Israel would cease fire, and so would Hamas, and there would be an exchange of prisoners from the Israeli side and hostages from the Hamas side. 20 living hostages and about 28, unfortunately, hostages who have died in custody of Hamas, who have been killed, I would say. So that makes it 48. There's a wrong word that is used is about Palestinian or Gazan hostages in Israel. Israel didn't go in and kidnap them and bring them to Israel, as prisoners. They were caught at whatever age. Some people say children, 15-year-old, 16-year-old is not officially in that sense a child. If he's been caught trying to enter Israel with a gun or a knife, trying to kill Israelis. So they're the ones also who have been there, women included. So hostages and prisoners, there will be an exchange. That is ongoing right now. Now, the initial plan called for a 72-hour period exchange of a return of all the live hostages and the release of the bodies of the remaining 28 Israeli / other citizens, hostages, but mostly Israelis. It hasn't happened as yet. It's been about 20 days now approximately. The dead bodies have not all been released. It's been in phases, 2 bodies. The Hamas claims that we don't know where they are. Not all the bodies. Hamas claims that they are under rubble. So we don't have the equipment to pull them out, the heavy equipment, and then, anyway, it's a long story. You need Turkish equipment to come in, then all kinds of things. Unfortunately, it's sad. It's really sad. So that's the first phase. Then the thing is about that that Israel will withdraw to what is called, if you've seen the maps, a yellow line.
Yeah.
Now that is a breach line, with the sense that the Hamas or the other, even civilians, are not expected to cross that line. They can be on this side of the line, but not on this side of the line. That's Israeli sovereignty. In the sense, ceasefire line, that's their side. There have been some incidents of firing, and the Israelis have come in and killed civilians. Well, a lot of people have crossed this line or attempted to cross this line. They were told, don't. You can do on this side of the line, from here, from the sea to this side, up to the border, up to the yellow line. Well, it's unfortunate, but it's still a war zone. That hasn't ended. So these are the next phases that have to happen. So far we are getting there.
But fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Disarmament.
Yes.
The Hamas has to disarm. Hamas has to surrender. A lot of people also misstate that the war will end if Hamas releases all the prisoners. No, there are part 2 also in it. Is about Hamas surrenders.
Yes.
They haven't done that as yet.
Yes.
Officially, they haven't done that as yet.
True.
And they've got their supporters who are sitting in Qatar, Turkey, etc., who are not facing the front line.
True.
So for them, there's no incentive to shut down.
Thank you. So coming to my second question, well, we have seen that over the last one or few months, many European countries have, in a way, recognized Palestine, and also on the American universities and campuses, we see a lot of pro-Palestinian movement. Do you think that Israel is losing the narrative war, or what's your take on this?
You've heard of Joseph Stalin, the Soviet leader. He had a very amazing phrase which is applied, which is applicable today. It's called useful idiots. And so most of these people who are supporting supposedly Palestinians, they're not sure if they're supporting Palestinians or they're supporting Hamas, a designated terror organization, but there's been a ceasefire for a long time, right?
Yes.
For a few days now, 3 weeks approximately. Where are they out in the field? All of these people who are cheering the ceasefire, nowhere. They should be out cheering the ceasefire,
Yes.
praising Israel. There's nowhere to be seen. So, is it wrong to conclude that they are mostly anti-Israel? Where is their protests when there are civilians getting killed in other countries, Sudan, Congo, etc.? Among these other sad places where again civilians, minorities are getting killed. Where are they on the streets marching for the lives of these people? Nowhere. There has been an anti-Semitic problem in the Western world for a very long time, for centuries.
Yes.
Then the culmination of the anti-Semitic attitudes of Europe, etc., culminated in the Holocaust. So there's been, after that, because of guilt or whatever, there's been a dip in anti-Semitism. Seems to be back now. As for recognizing a Palestinian state, there are 3-4 factors to this. One, they're not unique. India recognized the Palestinian state in 1988
Yes.
under Arafat. So recognizing a Palestinian state is not, as a matter of fact, I think 155 countries have recognized the Palestinian state, which is okay. That's their choice. Nobody can control that. But have they thought about, when you recognize a state, there are some factors to it. What are the state's borders? Can anybody answer that? Nobody can. So, if you want to do it as a political move just because you don't like the other side, to irritate them, I think that's childish. It's literally like a toddler in kindergarten saying, there are 2 chairs, but I want that one only.
Coming to my last question, India's take in this whole scenario. So we see that there's a lot of warming up between India and Israel over the last, let's say, a decade or so, particularly after Prime Minister Modi came to power. But still, when you talk about the official positions, we see a lot of continuity in what India thought about Palestine before Prime Minister Modi came to power, or during the Nehruvian or Gandhian era. Okay, and what it does now. Most recently, when the Israeli fighter jets, they raided Hamas bases in Qatar. Okay, after that we saw that the Indian Prime Minister spoke to the Qatari head and expressed, condemned the attacks without mentioning the name of the country, but they condemned the attack. And we also know that, Qatar and some of these countries like Turkey, they are funding a lot of jihadist or Islamist groups in India. So given this background, how do you analyze India's role, particularly in the emerging situation in West Asia and India's relationship?
Do you know Prime Minister Modi's birthday?
It's 17th, I guess.
17th September,
Yes.
1950.
Yeah.
You know what else happened on 17th September 1950? Prime Minister Nehru offered de facto recognition to Israel. Which means, okay, you're there.
Yeah, yes.
No diplomatic relations, but we recognize you as a state. So is it a coincidence that the man who's most pro-Israel was born on that day?
Yes.
Now, Israel, for a very long time, India has had this stand that, especially when dealing with Pakistan, has been de-hyphenation.
Yes.
And because of a socialist era earlier under the Nehruvian, Indira Gandhi prime ministership, etc., we've had this, I don't want to use another word for it, but a sort of a misunderstanding. Well, that's a country's stand at that time, that the Palestinian movement is a liberation movement, and at least it was much better in those days, better than what it is now. And so India has always supported liberation movements throughout after independence, even before that, from the 40s, 50s, 60s, Ghana, for example, other kinds of countries that were under colonial rule. So Palestinian movement was seen as the same continuation of a liberation movement. So therefore, in 1988 or so, under Arafat's leadership, India recognized, when Arafat made a unilateral declaration of independence, India was one of the first non-Muslim countries to recognize. But because of this whole thing about de-hyphenation, that India has been saying it for years, and it has happened to some extent now, that when you're talking to us, de-hyphenate. That means if an American president comes to visit India, he had to visit Pakistan. There's a hyphenation kind of. So the de-hyphenation is what India insisted on. Deal with each country on its own.
Yes.
You want to visit Pakistan, visit later. Why do you have to come in with the Indian visit to India? So in the same context, in 2017, when Prime Minister Modi visited Israel, he went to Israel, finished his visit, flew back to Delhi, and later came on a state visit to Ramallah, to the Palestinian Authority, where the headquarters are. So that is a very clear sign of dehyphenation. That India has recognized the two-state, has stated that two-state solution is what we are looking for.
Yes.
That's a stand. But even before India recognized on 29 January 1992, when India officially recognized Israel, or rather, not recognized, but established diplomatic relations with Israel. Recognition was from 1950. It was made very clear that this is going to be a bilateral relation. It's got nothing to do with what is happening with the Palestinians, with this, with that. It's this, us and them. That's the criteria. And whatever is of interest, bilateral interest. The other support is always there. Even the Prime Minister, our Foreign Minister, has been asked this question many times, and he's also openly made it very clear that we support a two-state solution. But what is going to happen in the two-state solution and the agreements and the setting up infrastructure, etc., that's between the two parties.
Yes.
We don't want to give, because India does not accept outside mediation.
Yes. Yeah.
Why should we interfere in other
Yes.
countries unless they ask us?
True.
So there's a different relationship. We have a separate relationship with the Palestinians. We have a separate relationship with Israel. And both recognize, this thing about, they're both anti-Muslim and all that, which is ridiculous.
Yes.
Both countries have got a 20%
Yes.
Islamic population, happy,
Yes.
equal citizens. So this by using it's all ridiculous. There's your bilateral relationships,
Yeah.
what matters, and that's the end of it.
Thank you. Thank
been
you
a
very
pleasure.
much, Arjun.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much for joining us today.